everyone, welcome to today's video. I'm going to be talking about manifesting and really what that is, which is energy. So when you are looking at manifesting things, you're looking to attract things into your life, bring things into your life. And what you have to realize is that fundamentally that everything is energy. And so once you can understand that and understand the laws of energy, that is when you can really start using manifestation and work with energy in a magical way. So when you go into the basics of what everything is, when you take anything, whether it's your phone, your laptop, your hair, your clothes, whatever it is, and if you go down to the basics of what it is, it's an atom, and atoms have energy. So everything that is in this world, anything is made up of atoms, and atoms hold energy. And energy isn't stagnant. It has its own frequency, its own wave vibration. So energy is always moving and has a wave and vibration. So if you can realize that everything around us is energy, and one of the laws of energy is that like attracts like. And so when you are wanting to manifest things into your life, you have to be at that vibration of what you are wanting. So a few examples would be like when people say the rich stay rich, the poor stay poor. That's because those people are vibrating at that frequency. There are people in a frequency of gratitude and abundance and self-worth. And then there are people who are feeling lack and unworthy. And so when you're vibrating at that level, that's what you're going to be attracting into your lives. And you might be saying, hey, like, I'm not attracting this. But I'm here to maybe just bring this to the surface for you. In one of my other videos, I've talked about triggers and how triggers are really here to be teachers. So if this is triggering you, it's more of just a, hey, maybe look into this and start thinking about where your self-worth is, or different things that you might have to work through. Another big thing that is an example is relationships. A lot of the times we say like, oh, I keep having these relationships and they keep ending the same way with this person, and they end up being the same as my last relationship, or I don't understand how I keep attracting all of these people into my lives. It might not be the same. Like, I know a lot of times there's narcissistic people that attract a lot of, they're like, well, I'm not narcissistic. I'm not saying that anyone's narcissistic necessarily, but you might be having a low vibration of worthiness. Or a lot of times when we have like attachment issues and stuff like that, we become people pleasers, which is something that I've dealt with. I'm not just saying that and trying to ruffle any feathers, but it's something that we do as people who, it's like a coping mechanism. When we're feeling powerless, we try to find ways to have our power. Or if we're feeling like we might be abandoned, a lot of people who grew up in unstable households, they try to really pick up on other people's emotions, and we become people pleasers. So a lot of empaths end up with these narcissistic people because we have these low vibrations of needing to please people, which attracts the narcissistic because they have their own issues that they're working on, but it's a low vibration that they have, and that matches the same vibration. So even though you're completely opposite on like the self-absorbed and the empath who's worried about everyone else, you still have this vibration of needing that, of need, I guess. So once you can start realizing, you'll keep attracting relationships with the same kind of energy, because that's what you need to work through on yourself. Again, if you haven't watched my trigger video, go ahead and watch it. But pretty much we have triggers that are there that we attract into our lives, anything that we need to work through so that we can process through them and rise up from that. Because once we really work through an energy and rise above that, once you're in that higher vibration, you don't really go back into lower vibrations. I'm not saying that like I know a lot of enlightened people, you think that maybe they never have bad days, but they do. They just know how to work through those lower vibrations and understand the idea that triggers are teachers, or low vibrations are just there to help us figure out, okay, well, I still have this low vibration inside of me, so what is it that I need to work through? So yes, so the other important thing to know is that we are creators. And so so when we have this energy in us, we're creating that with our outer world. Okay, so if we're feeling, again, lack or anger, guilt, we tend to see that a lot in our world because we are creating. We're not creating. I'm not going to say that you're creating, but you're again attracting that into your life. You know, life's unfair. Life is hard. You're going to start seeing that. That's why I think it's really important that we, you know, don't try to watch the news. I know a lot of people, me included, during the pandemic, I was watching the news all the time because I felt like it was something I had to do. And it was attracting all of this really, really low vibrations of fear and anger. And it really started to become me. So if you do feel like you have to watch something, which you have a choice, you never have to do anything. But if you do feel like well, I need to kind of know what's going on, just make sure that you're not letting that become you. Really balance out your life with some things that bring you joy and love and light, because that's what you're going to start bringing into your life, and you're going to start resonating on that frequency of happiness and not so much the fear. Like, really don't try to stay and live into that. When I was doing a Reiki class, I remember one of the core rules is don't be angry. And I was like, we're supposed to be able to go through our emotions. I don't understand that. And what they meant was that you're not supposed to be angry. Like, don't be angry, move through it. So another thing that I remember and I want to share is that I remember thinking, well, I have to watch the news, otherwise I'm just ignoring all that's going on in the world. And I think a lot of people, especially empaths, will feel that. Will say, well, if I'm ignoring the news and I'm not watching the news, then I'm just like living in this bliss and, you know, I'm not helping. When you're vibrating at a high frequency, you end up transmuting the lower frequencies. So it's almost like you're a lighthouse. So it's just like the saying, you can't fight dark with dark or hate with hate. You can only fight darkness with light. You can only fight hate with love. And so what happens is when you're at a higher frequency, lower frequencies are either going to transmute completely or raise up, because that love frequency is at such a higher frequency than the lower ones that you end up being like this beacon, like this lighthouse. And so when people say, well, you're not watching the news, then how are you helping? What you're doing is you're raising your frequency and you're not allowing these lower frequencies anymore. That's why a lot of people like me are doing these videos, because we are here to be the light, be the love, and spread that around, because there is so much light and love in this world, and it really needs to be shown. You know, we live in such duality where we have all of these really low, quite frankly, just really horrible things that are happening in our world, but there is so much love and light too. And that's what I'm here to help bring awareness to, is our power that we are able to have if we stopped living in fear, if we stopped living in these low vibrations. We have so much power within ourselves that we can help raise the consciousness of the world, of the mass. And so if you're feeling like this is really resonating with you, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. And I just want to wish you to continue on this path of love and light and enlightenment. And we can start creating this world of abundance and leave out those lower vibrations. You know, I've said it in my last video too, we're living in such a three-dimensional world of where we have to work really hard and we have to, you know, do all these things to be able to be abundant. And that's really not where we're headed to. We're headed to a place where we can live in a state of love and joy and peace. And I really hope that I can inspire everyone to join us and join the mass collective of raising our consciousness and living in this beautiful, beautiful state that we where we're powerful and abundant. And yes, so again, understanding energy. Energy is the core of everything. Everything has a frequency. There's a wonderful, wonderful tool that you can look up. I will put it in the links in the description, or a link in the description of the Map of Consciousness. It's by Dr. David Hawkins. He's a really brilliant man, and he mapped up all of the vibrations of different emotions. So every emotion has a vibration, and when you can really start looking, like I started looking at this whenever I was feeling low vibration. I was like, oh, okay, that's really low on the map. But try not to, again, live in that emotion. Just be aware of it. And that's when meditation comes in handy. When you meditate, you're actually going inside, kind of quieting that, like that chatter mind, the ego mind, and you're starting to pay attention to who you are on a fundamental level, which is love. And when you can look at your emotions and thoughts and look at them as a bystander, because those low vibrations aren't who we are. So when we're feeling angry or guilt or shame, that's not who we are. That's just a thought that we have connected to a feeling. So if we were abused as a child, you know, we feel that, and that's a thought, but we're not really this worthless thing. When we were abused, that's not who we are. We are worthy. You are worthy. And once you can realize that, like, okay, this is just a feeling that I had to this thing that happens, and whenever I have that thought, it gives me this feeling. When you can start realizing that you're not your thoughts, you're not your feelings, you know, these low feelings, like, you can start raising up higher into who you really are, which is a love vibration, and abundant and worthy, and it's really quite beautiful. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and end it there, and please follow along if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, but mostly I'm just really happy that you're here. All right, much love, much light, and take care.